we're going to introduce our first comic of the evening. She comes from the lovely land of Canada. She's actually a native, which makes her a minority here. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands up for the one, the only, Melissa!
Great when you're introduced telling people that we're not funny, but whatever. Alright, my name is Melissa. I tend to hang out with people who put down my clothes, my hair, and my boyfriends. That's called being friends with gay men. I've been thinking lately about things that I'm good at. I was told not to pace, but I'm going to pace, so that's the way this is going to go. I was thinking about things that I'm good at. I'm a pretty good writer. I know that not everybody is. I've read some reports from people who claim to have gone to school, and I think, when did Sesame Street open a university? We don't really use words anymore. Laugh out loud is? Oh my God is? Very good. See you next Tuesday is? That's cunt, yes. I just called you a cunt if you can't spell. At some point, we're just going to be yelling letters at each other like, well, I won't do it to you. AYFK, MWTS? Are you fucking kidding me with this shit? Until then, I will be the language police. The other day, my boyfriend told me things had gone awry at work. And I thought, do you want to know what else has gone awry? This relationship, especially for one of us. Well, my boyfriend cannot use basic vocabulary. These are my friends. I cannot read signs. Years ago, and instructors, I'm sorry, but I can't help it. I'm going to do it like this. So years ago, my boyfriend and I were walking down the street, and I saw a sign in a window, and I said, "Hey, boyfriend, this store sells Knobst." He yelled at me. He said, "Melissa, there is no PST, no GST in that store." And I thought, yeah, and there'll be no knobs tonight, that makes sex. Let's keep talking about words. The meaning of words is not consistent. If you have big breasts, that is usually a good thing. I wouldn't know. If you have a big penis, again, people tell me that is a good thing. And again, I would not know. When you have a big nose, this is where we get into trouble. This is when big is bad. I have a big nose. My dad has a big nose, my brother has a big nose, and my uncle has a big nose. And you, sir, look like you might also have a big penis. Just kidding. My brother does not have a big nose. Growing up with a big nose as a young woman is not easy. You are often picked on by men, usually of the swipe left variety, you know, the ones with teeth growing over their forehead. They've got wonky eyes, and usually their stomachs have outgrown their t-shirts. And quite often they smell, and trust me, I would know. Years ago, my boyfriend and I were traveling in Southeast Asia. We were in Laos, and we were in the back of a truck trying to get to the next village. There was an older man sitting directly across from me, and I could see that he was starting to study me, and I knew exactly where we were headed. It was like the Titanic, seconds before it hits the iceberg. He pointed at me. He did a big sweeping gesture outlining the profile of my nose. He pointed back at me, and then he laughed like he'd never laughed a day before in his life. And if he'd had any teeth, I would have seen exactly where they would have gone. Of course, the women around him started laughing and making fun of me and pointing at me too, because that's what we do, right, ladies? We support our man at all costs. When you are a blonde white woman with a big nose in Southeast Asia, You have brought the circus right to their front door. But here's the thing. Women with big noses are mentally tough. We have to be, because we have been spontaneously humiliated our whole entire lives. But the women of the Big Nose Brigade always come out on top. Barbara Streisand, Sarah Jessica Parker, Big Bird. Oh, God. Well, yes, okay, let's carry on here. I forgot what I was going to say, but it's going to come to me. Oh, yes. It's not the end of the world when you have a different physical feature, when you have a character trait that's not like everyone else's. It gives you grit. It gives you toughness. The biggest joke played on humans is that as you get older, you actually feel younger. I don't think it's a funny joke either. I still feel 18 in many ways, but there are some things. Last summer, I went to a Blue Jays game, and I had way too many afternoon beers. And on my walk home, I suddenly had to pee, and I had to pee now. That's new. I thought about peeing in the park. It's full of homeless people. It's like shooting fish in a barrel right now, and I thought I would fit right in. But I didn't want to confuse people with the moon while the sun was still. So I kept walking until I saw it. Why is it the second that you see your house, you're instantly paralyzed when you have to pee? It's like Pavlov's dog. The second you see the place where you can pee, you pee. I peed my pants. IPMP. So I guess it's true what they say. You really do feel younger as you get older. All right, speaking of getting older, I am the youngest of 3. And this idea that the youngest child gets the most attention is total bullshit. My sister was a tyrant, and she sucked the air out of every room in our house. But at school, she was fun. She was all that and a bag of chips. But I prefer crackers. My brother never suffered from middle child syndrome, just golden child syndrome. I could win an Oscar, and my dad would be more interested in what my brother had for lunch that day. Here's a conversation I had recently with my dad. Ring, ring. Hello? Hey, how are you? My dad doesn't actually sound like that. I'm pretty good. Have you heard from your brother recently? What's happening with your brother? Do you have any news about your brother? Tell me everything about your brother! Seriously, my dad is literally hyperventilating at this point. I make some shit up about my brother. We talk nothing about me. Then my dad says, great catching up with you. And I say, see you next Tuesday.